Art study log week 1. I'm Akira and I'm reviewing my studies of this week. This week I studied the facial features, mouth, nose, ears, and eyes. And I'm gonna say the things that I learned. I am in the intermediate art level. I'm not a beginner. I know some stuff, and now I'm going to review what I learned. I don't learn much, but if you learn little by little, you get pro, right? Well, for every render except for this one, I have the references that I used, and I'm gonna review it. Okay, I'm gonna start by not the rendering, but the sketches studies. For the mouth, I have a lot of sketches. I have those and 2 rendering. Well, for the mouth, I understand that if you use these circles and stretch them or make them smaller, you can shape the shape of the mouth and do facial expressions. This one here, this one are the first studies. I tried using 2 balls on the bottom and one up on the upper lips, and in the digital sketches I use 2 balls in 2 balls in the upper lips and one in the lower lips. I learned that also if you there are this area here, there is like the muscles that influence the mouth. If you deform it, you can also get the facial expressions. I have one here that was those with the fingers. Here is just the lips, but right here I use the deformation of the muscles of the mouth to make this expression. I stretch the lips here and I deform the muscles. And with that, and that was what I learned. There isn't much, but just what I said. You can, if you learn little by little every day, you're gonna master it. So this is what I learned with the mouth, and those are my render. I studying render as well. It's not the main focus, but every facial feature that I learn, I make a render, at least one, even if it's not colored. To study volume, basic volume and value. Those are the mouth studies. My favorite one was this one. It's not. I thought that would be hard, because there is not a lot of contrast, but I like it. The pastel colors, the mouth is like very pretty. I like the reference as well, but my favorite reference was that, and I was really sad that I couldn't translate that in my drawings. But it's okay, I'm learning, I'm studying. That was the mouth. Now the nose. The nose I did just one render, and it was black and white. I like it, but let's see the sketches. I had those sketches. This was just a hatching study that because I like it. The nose is the same of the rendering, but is not alike. They get too different because it's harder to draw in paper. That was one thing that I did also. I studied in paper and on the digital because I want to improve in both areas. But I not rendering in paper. The the most I do is like hatching in with Nanking and the paper ones. No, the paper ones. The nose was the subject that I learned the most. My nose, I don't have here any drawing of the nose that I did earlier, before these studies, but I learned something very useful. That is this thing here, doing this shape to simplify the nose. That helped me a lot. On the first sketches, it was too rigid. I wasn't deforming it, and even without deforming it, I got a lot of good drawings. I like this drawing. I like this drawing. I like this drawing. I don't like this drawing. This drawing was awful. And I like this drawing. And this as well. You see, a lot of the drawings I was satisfied with because of this method. And it's like click it for me. The way I drew noses is now very different the way I draw right now. And that is it for this page. I had this one right after, and I start to deforming it, and I got this nose here that I like very much, and this one that are the ones that I deform it. For me, it was very rigid. I drew like that. And it was hard to get the shapes, but when I start to deforming it and doing this kind of thing, I start to get more interesting shapes, and it was very very satisfying for me because I really didn't like the way I did draw noses. I use this kind of sketching, and it was just off sometimes. But now I can do better noses. Well, this is for the sketches. Now the rendering. The render was fine. I couldn't get the reference very well. It was not bad, but it was off. Cause like for the rendering, it looks like the camera is aligned with the reference, but with the rendering, but in the reference is slightly tilted from upper. It's like in the rendering the camera was like seeing the subject from the side, but in the rendering this camera was like seeing slightly upper the subject, and I couldn't get this feeling of seeing from up, seeing from an upper view, that was for the nose. I don't have much to say about this one. It's just this one, but in hatching and offer no, it's like uh, uglier. Not uglier. It's just like way off the reference than this one. This one is closer. And now the ears. The ears was a kind of boring subject. I learned more rendering. I just had one click for the ears, and it was this one here. Let me see here. This one. I used to draw the ear like this. This is the ear that I drew. It's not very different, but here, this happens. This line here that's making volume, and it's making this curve right here. It kind of clicked for me, this way of drawing an ear, but it's not very different. It's a small difference. It's nothing compared to what's like the nose studies that I shifted kind of my way of drawing noses. The ear was like okay. I didn't learn too much, but it's that thing that I said. If I learn one thing, I'm happy with it, even if it's one boring thing like the ear. And that was my studies on the digital. I always do the sketches in the paper before the digital, cause just to warm up to go to the digital, I have better control in the paper of my hands, and that's why I do this. Well, the ears rendering were good. I like it. I didn't get the I forgot the name. Is this kind of transparency of the ears, because they're not bones, or they are, I don't know the English word for it, but they're not bones or any shit, and they're not just skin, and because of that they have a kind of transparency that's like an orange glow, but I couldn't do this here, and there have a lot of blood, so they're redder, and I couldn't do this as well. But I'm going to study only rendering sometime. I don't know when, but when I study that, I'm gonna to focus on the things that I couldn't do here now, and that's it. That is for the ears. Now the eyes. The eyes. The eyes was my most fun and study of them all. I love studying the eyes. If you notice, the eyes is the subject that I'm drew the better, the best. And I think this is for the most artists. Uh, we tend to draw eyes more than the other facial features. I think it's just what I see a lot. And I just the eyes I learn. I know a lot of the about the eyes, and I learned just one thing, and it's this. It's a basic thing, but I didn't click it for me before, and it's this: the volume of the eyelid, the volume of the eyelid. Uh, it's I didn't click. It didn't click for me before. I knew that exists. That's where the eyelashes come from, and for me just didn't click it. But now I have a better understanding of the eyelids volume. I learned a new word. Nice. So what it's okay, and this is my studies on digital. I didn't do much. I really get excited in the paper and study a lot. I didn't learn anything else, but that and we have this, right? This was my favorite study of the all the week. Of all studies that I did in the week, this was my favorite. Um, it's from one of my favorite paintings. The painting is from, I guessed, I think it's Alexandre Cabanel. I can be wrong, but I love this painting about rage and vengeance. The study went well. It's more about the rendering that I like it. The eye, the eye by himself, it's good. I couldn't replicate the eye of the reference, but it's like replicating the work of a master. I can't do this now. For now. One day I get it. This is for the eyes. But I have one more study, that is stylization. I want to draw anime. So I study anime eyes. There was not a lot of studies, but I redrew this study. I redrew it in anime style without reference. It was the only study from them all that I didn't use reference. This one. This was like no, I use reference, right. I used, but not. I not copy the reference. I use reference to create something. I use reference for the iris. I didn't pick the reference, but it was a Pinterest reference of like anime stylized iris. I use reference for the colors, and I use the Fallen Angel for the not the pose, but the eye pose. I guess, and it turned out like this. I use hatching. It's not very good, the hatching. I could do better, but it is what it is. This was my final study that I did yesterday, and that was for the week. This log entry for week 1 facial features, it's over. I appreciate if you saw the video, And that is it. Farewell.